Welcome to Nuclear Learning, an online initiative produced by the Stimson Center to facilitate the study of nuclear competition and dangers in South Asia. Our first open online course, Nuclear South Asia, is available free of charge at nuclearlearning.org. In this video, we speak with Tanvi Madan, the director of the India project at the Brookings Institution. We discuss the significance of the Doklam Standoff in the context of previous Indo-Sino disputes.
There have been such incidents before, so it's not entirely new. Also not entirely new in terms of this border incident was the Indian the Indian side taking certain actions in reaction. So basically showing resolve, moving military assets, showing that it was going to show a certain amount of firmness and strength, even as it was going to have a discussion, but using that strength to essentially get China to move back to status quo ante. Those are the things that made it quite similar. The things that do make it different are, one, the involvement of a third country, in this case Bhutan. This wasn't just, it was a China-India standoff, but it did involve territory that is disputed between Bhutan and China. India has certain obligations to Bhutan, which is why it partly came into the picture. The second thing that was quite different about this crisis was the nature and extent of Chinese rhetoric and public pressure on India. In terms of not just outlets like Global Times, but outlets, that official outlets like People's Daily and Xinhua, as well as kind of statements from the Foreign Ministry and the Defense Ministry. Third, China also used certain instruments of pressure, you could use the word coercion if you want to kind of take it further, such as travel advisories, military exercises, and kind of stopping pilgrims from going or shutting down a pilgrimage route. And so you do see some of these kind of tools that's used with other countries being used against India. You didn't see, for example, protests outside the Indian embassy in Beijing. You didn't see that, but you did see a greater level of public kind of pressure on India. Finally, one thing that was quite different was that China was basing its claim on the 1890 Anglo-Chinese Convention. This is unusual because China, at least in China-India border disputes, has usually said that historic agreements and treaties don't matter as much because when China signed them, it was either weak or it wasn't the country that it is today, and so it doesn't feel an obligation necessarily to stick to those treaties. So it was interesting to see it use that particular historical agreement to base its claim on.
If you enjoyed this video, please remember to click the subscribe button below and visit nuclearlearning.org to enroll in Nuclear South Asia today.